This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, R.O.S.E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of R.O.S E, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Watson, Community Outreach Specialist for R.O.S E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly, and I am filling in for Joyce today. She will be back next week. I appreciate the trust Joyce gives me in spending some time with all of our viewers and listeners. We are here to prevent people from getting scammed in the first place. And it's a tough job for all of us out there in the world because these scammers are really, really good. Every week, every month, I hear stories of very smart people getting targeted by these very talented scammers. And, they're horrible people, and they're coming after us. And our goal is for you to recognize the psychological pressure that they put on us, put on you, identify that it's a scam, and just be willing to hang up that phone, delete that email, and go talk to someone else. So today's topic is an update on states and cities that have banned cryptocurrency ATMs. So before we jump into that, I want to just do a review of a cryptocurrency ATMs, what they are. Yesterday I actually spoke to a friend of mine from college, and I asked him if he knew what a cryptocurrency ATM was, and he didn't. And, this is a smart guy who, handles his finances and, he knows what's going on. And if my friend didn't know what a cryptocurrency ATM is, that means most people don't. So let's just do a review. So I told this story last year. I want to share it again. I was last fall, I was up in northern Arizona. I happened to be in a town where I was giving a fraud prevention presentation that was actually being held at the local mall at a business there. And as I walked into the main doors of the mall, right in that open area, there was this machine that caught my eye. And it was black and yellow, and the yellow just popped. It was really bright colored. And it was this machine. It looks like an ATM, but this wasn't an ordinary ATM. It's what we call a cryptocurrency ATM. And it's hard to miss because you walked right into the mall. And I was interested because I work part-time for R.O.S E, and I'm in the fraud prevention business. So I need to know about these things. I walked up, I was very curious, started looking at this machine, checking it out. And this gentleman came up to me and asked if I was going to put money into it and get scammed. And I said, no, 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 no. I warn people about scams. I don't get scammed. And then he started to tell me that he looks out for his local citizens. He works at the mall, and he just keeps his eye out for people walking in. And he can tell when someone's under stress and panicking and on the phone with someone with a bag of cash, and he intervenes. And I was very proud of this guy. But that's what crypto ATMs are. They are a way that scammers steal from us, and they're absolutely horrible. and you'll tell. I don't hide my feelings about these cryptocurrency ATMs. I have no problem with people buying and selling cryptocurrency. It's the wave of the future. It's not going anywhere soon. But these ATMs are bad for several particular reasons. Um, because the scammers love them. Scammers can be anywhere in the world, and with the internet they can find a cryptocurrency ATM that's very close to the person that they're scamming. So what are some of the scams that they might send you to a cryptocurrency ATM? The big one is a bank impersonation scam. They'll call you up, they'll say, we're from your local bank, your money's not safe, you need to put it somewhere where it'll be protected. They'll text you a QR code to your cell phone. They'll give you the exact location of a cryptocurrency ATM. You scan that QR code at this crypto ATM and you insert cash, you lose your money. It's a horrible scam. Another one is the tech support scam. They'll call up. Um, there's all kinds of variations, but they might say, you're due for a refund for this particular service, but you have to request the refund. You punch in the number on your screen thinking you're getting a refund, but they actually manipulate it so it looks like you got an overpayment. They demand the overpayment. Again, they send you to a cryptocurrency ATM. The other one is pig butchering. Joyce and I have talked a lot about pig butchering. Horrible term. I don't like it, but it gets people's attention. Several of our podcasts have covered um, pig butchering. It's a long play scam. The person on the other end develops a relationship with you, and at a certain point floats the idea of buying or selling a cryptocurrency, and they get you to quote invest, but you're really not investing, you're just losing. And what they do is they facilitate this pig butchering scheme by sending you to a cryptocurrency ATM nearby. It could be at a grocery store, it could be at a liquor store, convenience store, smoke shop, at a mall. Like I said, at a mall, anywhere, and they will provide you a QR code, and you start putting that cash in, thinking you're investing, but you're not. You're just losing. And then the last one I want to highlight today is the jury duty scam. This thing has been around for 20 or 30 years. It's just a phone call from a scammer pretending to be a deputy from the local sheriff's office, sheriff's department, saying you didn't show up for jury duty. And this one's back. I have talked to 3 people in the last 2 months or so that have received the call for the jury duty scam. And when I talked to these new friends of mine, they told me they were contacted, convinced they didn't show up for jury duty, and they had two bad choices: pay a big fine or go to jail. Well, of course, they say, I'll just pay the fine. And then they're directed to a cryptocurrency ATM nearby. So, everybody out there in Radio Land, do you catch what's going on? If you're being sent to a cryptocurrency ATM, it is almost always a scam. There's no legitimate company, no financial institution, no government agency that's going to demand this form of payment. And we understand it is tough when you get that phone call and they sound professional and your option is paying a fine or going to jail. It is stressful. So that's why we have to talk about it right now. What would you do? You know what? I tell people you got to have an escape plan. And I'm telling you right now, it's okay to lie. Just if you're on the phone and you don't like where it's going, hang up. And if you're someone who can't hang up, just make up a lie. We call it a white lie. Just say, I got someone at the door. I got food in the oven. I have I have company. I'm expecting a phone call. Just be mentally prepared to give yourself that break and talk to someone else, because these scammers will not let you do that. They will keep you on the phone while they're scamming. So, we talked about cryptocurrency ATMs. They look like regular ATMs. You put cash into them. You think you're paying off a fine or you're investing, but you're really just losing your money. So what has been going on? Our government sitting back and just doing nothing? No, Today I'm going to talk about several cities and states that have taken a proactive approach because they want to protect their citizens. So first I want to talk about is the state of Iowa. Um, the um, the Iowa Attorney General's office kept receiving complaints about these cryptocurrency machines, so they initiated a one of a kind investigation into cryptocurrency ATMs, and they wanted to see, are they as bad as they actually are. So this investigation started in October of 2023, and the Attorney General's office issued subpoenas to 14 crypto ATM companies. There's a lot of them out there. And the subpoenas was basically a legal demand. They wanted information for all the transactions conducted, and it was over a several year period for Iowa residents. And the investigators for the Attorney General's office also emailed and called hundreds of Iowa residents who had made transactions through these cryptocurrency ATMs. And, they gathered police reports, consumer complaints, all the self-report. They did a full-blown investigation, which I'm very impressed. As a former special agent with the government, I love investigations. They take a lot of time and a lot of work, but they show what really happens. So, what was the result of this investigation? Iowa residents lost at least $20 million in transactions from just two companies alone. And the investigation found that 94 to 98% of the money that Iowa residents reported sending through ATMs were scams. Let me repeat that. 94 to 98% of the money sent through these crypto ATMs was a scam. And no surprise to us here at R.O.S E, most of the victims um, and ATM users were above the age of 60, what we call older adults. And that is our passion at R.O.S E. Everyone gets scammed, but as we get older, we lose more money, and the numbers don't lie about that. So kudos to the state of Iowa. They saw a problem and they took action, and they showed through financial records that this is a scam. This is not anecdotal. This is not my one case of someone getting ripped off. We're talking 94 to 98% scam rate. So other cities and states have tackled it as well. Um, the Stillwater, Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, and Spokane, Washington are three of the municipalities that banned cryptocurrency ATMs. There were also towns in Massachusetts. Now, they were kind of brave because these companies out there, they make a lot of money on these machines. They're profitable. And of course, they got sued. And I've spoken to some people from these municipalities, and they told me what they did. And like I said, they were very brave because they saw their citizens losing money. And then when we want to talk about states, in March, the state of Indiana became the first state to ban cryptocurrency ATMs and kiosks in their entire state. They passed legislation making operating a cryptocurrency ATM in the state a deceptive act, which enabled the attorney general from the state of Indiana to pursue legal action against the operators and property owners. And get this, Indiana has 900 cryptocurrency ATMs. I thought we had a lot of them in Arizona with 600. Indiana's got 900. And these cryptocurrency ATMs are located at supermarkets, convenience stores, gas stations. So congratulations, Indiana. You took the lead, and I'm hoping other states will follow. And in fact, the second state to ban cryptocurrency ATMs or cryptocurrency kiosks, they're kind of a synonymous name. In May, legislation was signed by their governor making the installation or operation of a crypto ATM a misdemeanor, and that is effective July 1st. So we're about a month away from that. So, will other states follow? Probably. I'm guessing so. But congratulations to those two states for protecting their people. And then here's some very recent news. On May 18th, so just last week, Bitcoin Depot, which is a US-based Bitcoin ATM operator, announced that it initiated a voluntary Chapter 11 process in the U.S. bankruptcy court in the Southern District of Texas. So they basically are filing for bankruptcy. And basically, their plan is to do an orderly wind down of the company's operation and facilitate a sale of his assets. So, when states and cities and towns start banning these crypto ATMs, the crypto ATM operators, it makes their business a lot harder to use. So, to play devil's advocate today, what are the arguments in favor of these cryptocurrency ATMs? Because until recently, they were legal in all 50 states. And the biggest answer that the proponents of these machines give is, some people are unbanked, meaning they don't have a bank account. They don't, they don't have one of the big banks or a credit union or something like that to do that, and there's reasons for that. Some people don't operate their bank account properly. They bounce checks, they have non-sufficient funds, they do things where the bank does not want to deal with them. So it's a small percentage of people. So, I get that. Everyone, you got to pay your bills, and there's some people who can't. And then the second big argument they make is there's a lot of people who deal with cash, gig workers, people who are tipped employees, or even migrant workers, people who are here in the United States and they're sending money back to their home country. They can convert cash into cryptocurrency and easily send money to friends and family. But here's the deal. I reject these arguments, and I'll tell you why. These machines are a bad business deal for anyone using them. These machines carry a 20 to 30% markup over market rates. So when you're buying cryptocurrency, you're getting a really bad deal. And really, it's a form of predatory banking. So let me give you an example. If you put $100 of cash into a cryptocurrency ATM, on average, depends on the machine, depends on the company, you may only get about $75 of cryptocurrency. So you're already losing money. It's a horrible deal. It's kind of like using a cash ATM at a casino when you're desperate for money. You're going to be paying fees for the casino's ATM is going to charge you a fee. Your bank's going to charge you a fee. And it's just a horrible deal. You're much better off getting cash ahead of time or finding cash where there's no fees. Here's the deal. If you really want to buy cryptocurrency, you can do it at home. You can do it on your laptop, your desktop. You can do it from your phone and do it directly out of your bank account. And, they make the argument about the unbanked. Well, what if I don't have a bank account and I don't want to buy it and I want crypto? I don't know, man. If you don't have money in your bank and you don't have a bank account, I don't know if using cryptos is the best method. So, like I said, I think you can all tell I'm not a fan of these cryptocurrency ATMs because I have met too many people that have been scammed. Plus, all the people I haven't met out there that have been scammed. So, I teach a class at the University of Arizona, and last year I had a guest, and he was a investigator who specializes in cyber investigations for his agency. And I asked his opinion. What do you think of cryptocurrency ATMs? What do or what's your opinion? And he looked at the class and he looked at me and he said, you know what? If I was a detective for a local police department or sheriff's office and I didn't have any cases, I would go and park my car right in front of this convenience store where a cryptocurrency ATM was, and I'd watch people going in and using it, and then I would record their license plate. And he basically said, everyone using this thing is either a criminal depositing proceeds from like drugs or stolen property, or they're a victim. He goes, he's not a fan of them at all. So, look, here's a guy who's doing these investigations. He sees that these cryptocurrency ATMs just facilitate crime. So just remember, if you ever get sent to a cryptocurrency ATM against your will, if someone's pressuring you, it is a scam. If you find yourself at a convenience store or grocery store or at the mall and you see someone stressing out in front of one of these machines, go ask them, are you okay? What's going on? If they say, I didn't pay my jury duty, I didn't go to jury duty and there's a fine, tell them it's a scam, tell them to walk away. You will be doing the right thing. You're like a good Samaritan. You're helping out your fellow man who's in their time of need. So to close out today, just reminder, we don't want people to live in fear, but we do want you to have a healthy level of skepticism. Any email you get, any phone call, any text, any message on social media, just ask yourself, is this a scam? Am I being pressured? I'm not 100% sure. Buy yourself some time, end that interaction. I know it's hard, and talk to a friend or call the local police department. We don't want anyone to be scammed. These scammers are really good at what they do. And we have to be mentally prepared because we're all going to receive that phone call, that email, that text message that is trying to give us a compelling reason to act, to get us to panic, put that stress on us, to make a bad decision. So please sign up for our monthly email. Right on the screen, you see our website, roseadvocacy.org. When the show ends today, please go online, write that down, go online, and at the bottom of our homepage, there's a blue button that says sign up for our monthly email. You go on there, click the button. All we're going to ask for is your name and your email, and you're going to get some valuable information in your inbox. And if you like it, which I know you will, please forward it to your friends and tell them to sign up. And if you don't like it, just unsubscribe. We're not going to have our feelings hurt. But I know you're going to find this information valuable. I read it all the time. Joyce and the rest of our team at R.O.S E, we spend a lot of time trying to provide really good information, whether it's online or our in-person presentations. We'd love, if you're in Arizona, we'd love to do a presentation for you or your group. If you're out of state, we can do it by Zoom. And we have some people in a couple other states where we can do stuff in person as well. But we just want people to have good information to arm themselves so they do not get scammed. That's all I have for today. I really appreciate you all watching and listening. Joyce will be back next week. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About Scams.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.